Hi, it's time for another math easy solution. To discuss further into the hashtag 9/11 Truth video series. Now go over part 4, which will look at my new upcoming series on free energy. So stay tuned for that. And also I'm going to go over the Dr. Judy Wood litmus test, plus Bill Cooper's death, and much more. So note, as always, if you don't have time to watch the whole video, you could play this video at a faster speed. And top secret life hack, your brain gets used to faster speed. Hashtag try 2x speed on YouTube desktop. Has that's absolutely amazing. And also you can download and read notes, or you can read notes on Steemit, an article format. Hashtag get on Steam. And my Steemit account is, as always, at MES. And yeah, you could watch a video in parts, doesn't need to be all at once. So now let's just jump right into this part 4 of hashtag 9/11 Truth. It's quite fascinating. So yeah, buckle up. So note, I was initially reviewing the 9/11 Commission report, but the usual hashtag 9/11 updates that I usually do or usually make at the beginning of each video got pretty long, so I decided to dedicate this whole video to the updates. So let's look at these 9/11 Truth updates. Yeah, so topics to cover are the new video, the new free energy video series that's going to be coming out soon that I'm working on, and then demonetization and more trolls. Check out my votes up first, v/9/11truth MES, just a duplicate of my Reddit subreddit. And also I'm going to go over CIA agent 9/11 demolition confession psychological operation, or PsyOp. Go over that one, that was in the news recently. And Dr. Judy Wood litmus test is the important one, so stay tuned for that. And also I'm going to go over Bill Cooper's death and how it was a foregone conclusion, plus reviewing Mark Dice's book where he supposedly exposes Bill Cooper. And again, Mark Dice, that popular YouTuber / media analyst. And now here's the important update. I'll be starting a hashtag free energy video series in the coming days / weeks, so stay tuned for that. I'll be basically reviewing alleged free energy technology papers, patents, devices, and then we'll start ordering the parts of each device to uncover the mathematics of what works and what doesn't. Unlike most alleged free energy devices floating around on the interwebs, I look to provide a systematic derivation of each of the mathematical and technical aspects of the device so as to prove the device works in theory before providing a step-by-step methodology to replicate the device yourself. And I'll be ordering the parts. It might be expensive, so yeah, please support my research so I can just do this full time at mes.fm/donate and help get our world back. All the links will be in there for Patreon, PayPal, Bitcoin, and so on. And now looking further, it's further demonetization, and demonetization. So now my last video, part 3, is demonetized, and that makes all 3 of my 9/11 Truth ones, and this one's probably going to be demonetized as well if I choose to monetize, which I will not. So my part 3 video was about being banned from Reddit's 9/11 Truth forum, and now that video is demonetized on YouTube. Hashtag censorship galore. So basically my part 3 video was about censorship from Reddit, and then now I get censorship from YouTube. So yeah, crazy world we live in. So to avoid getting my YouTube channel shut down from repeated video demonetizations, I will be I will not even bother monetizing any of my 9/11 Truth videos, so please support my research by donating at, again, mes.fm/donate. So I'll be supported by the people instead of just random ads that YouTube can just take away. So now I want to go over further more trolls, and now look, the moderator that banned me from Reddit's r9/11 Truth is in damage control. Yeah, hashtag pathetic, in my opinion. So I posted that video on the conspiracy one, that my part 3 video explaining how I got banned from r9/11 Truth for promoting Dr. Judy Wood's brilliant work. So I created r9/11 Truth MES, and there's this SovereignMan guy that banned me. It's like, no, you were banned for numerous or repeated personal attacks against other users. And then I wrote, checking your Reddit history, it's clear that you employ the same tactics did on me to ban others that discussed Dr. Judy Wood's brilliant work. I included these tactics and what we know your tactics, but I reviewed this link in detail. Actually, I misread it, so correction, this is as of today. I misread the thread on the link this one above. So revised comment should have wrote, checking your Reddit history, it's clear you have an obsession for discrediting Dr. Judy Wood's work. There's the same link over there, and I'll get to that in a bit. I guess I received special treatment. Hashtag I'm special, maybe because I'm doing this video series. So again, MES note, even to disinformation agents like SovereignMan, I make corrections clear and public. Hashtag MES code of conduct. And again, so he says that I was banned for repeated personal attacks, and my main response was, you mean responding to spam bots and trolls? And yeah, also why, yeah, because that's pretty much what happened. I got spammed by like ridiculous amounts. So also, why didn't you respond to my personal message regarding being harassed by trolls and bots, and how you ban people that respond to them, including me. And then he writes, for the record, the person with whom you were arguing at the time was also banned at the same time you were. It was nothing but a long back and forth flame war. That kind of behavior is not tolerated in that sub. Remember, it was my video that I posted, and this guy posts hundreds, or yeah, close to hundreds of comments. So that, quote, person should have been the only one banned for spamming me with dozens, if not hundreds of comments. Stop lying and make it seem like it was a flame war. I responded by calling him out for trolling and spamming, and even reported him multiple times to you. Yes, I reported that guy, and then we both get banned. It's actually pretty cool tactic that they did. Pretty impressive. So recall that that is indeed the same moderator that banned me for responding to non-stop spam comments on my post. That's a very important one. It's on my post that they're spam bots trying to discredit it. And here is a refresher from my last video. So this is on. Yeah, it's my video on 9/11 Truth right there, which I posted about the video tutorial showing that the official 9/11 narrative is a complete joke. So I included this screenshot. This was from my part 3 video, talking about my part 2 video in the 9/11 Truth forum that I posted. And there's that SovereignMan guy. Due to the repeated numerous personal attacks by the 2 users involved in this thread, it has now been removed and the users have been banned. We will not tolerate such behavior in the sub. And again, even more ridiculous. Look at these 5 points. Who's upvoting these guys? These guys have like a team. More do, disinfo, directed energy weapon. Look at his name too. You disinfo agents just never stop. Hashtag go away. I got downvotes. This is ridiculous. And then that guy that was spamming me, he removes all of his comments. Very, very interesting. So notice that again, the tactics of spamming non-stop. Then government-controlled moderator like a SovereignMan guy bans other users, and the disinfo troll/bot that was spamming me removes his comments so that others can't review the exchange properly. Hashtag. Yeah, I'm actually pretty impressed. So yeah, let's going further into SovereignMan's profile. Yeah, he's actually the 9/11 Truth moderator there, and also real skeptics, put that in quotation marks. 9/11 Truth wiki. So yeah, he's been around for quite a while. Reddit for 8 years. A huge post karma and comment karma there. So note that this moderator used to be a moderator for conspiracy forum as well, and there is the conspiracy one there, as well as the 9/11 Truthers was there before. So yeah, this guy has quite the resume, and I'll be a highly suspect even of conspiracy for any actual info that government doesn't want you to know. They're probably going to be downvoted a lot. So the moderator SovereignMan has a strange obsession with trying to discredit Dr. Judy Wood's brilliant work. And here's an exchange I found online. This is from June 24th, and this is even on the conspiracy one where it used to be the moderator. And this person says, Dr. Judy Wood, PhD, classified weapons exist. Why is she hated on? And this person says, lover or hater, the 9/11 WTC Spire is a thing. That's that giant column, steel column, that just basically turned to dust in midair. It's absolutely amazing. Watch that. Ignore all comments about it because there are a bunch of spam comments, and then use your own eyes to tell you. So then then there's a SovereignMan. No, the Spire is not a thing. This video shows a Spire from a different angle and makes it quite clear that it did not turn to dust. I saw the video. It's actually even more perfect that it's turned to dust. Quite amazing. Of course, Wood has seen this too, but still obsesses over the turn to dust disinfo. This Spire turned to dust. Absolutely amazing. And this person responds, buildings sure as a bleep turned to dust. Where did the buildings go? This is an amazing question. So concrete isn't structural steel. The concrete ended up in chunks of all sizes from dust particles to boulder size. Again, it doesn't explain the video. Why is it turning dust? Well, there's a lot of downvotes. That's interesting. So I guess conspiracy may be a bit better than 9/11 Truth for posting this kind of stuff. Because yeah, 9/11 Truth one is heavily patrolled and controlled. So this other guy goes, yeah, Putin loves cats. Asking where did the towers go, and he says, you don't see the rubble in your own picture. 99.9% or more of the towers were air, as is most of any building. They weren't wall-to-wall and floor-to-ceiling concrete and steel. The structural components themselves simply don't have a lot of volume. This is one of the stupidest comments I've ever read in my life. This guy says, there was 100,000 tons of steel in each tower. There's maybe a couple thousand tons in that picture. Yeah, because there's barely anything in there. And then the SovereignMan's like, your monitor must be sitting on some fascinating scales to be able to accurately weigh that steel. Especially the steel you can't even see. I just don't have the funds for such equipment, so I'll have to respectfully bow out of this highly technical conversation. Technical? Just look, there's barely anything there. You don't need to calculate anything. So I've worked in structural studies for 20 years, so I have a fairly good eye on it, or just use common sense. So if there's any doubt that SovereignMan is a biased government-controlled disinfo agent, this exchange removed all doubt. Yeah, all that doubt, at least for me. So yeah, hashtag lock him up, hashtag treason, because that, yeah, in some ways, it has to be treason in some ways, especially if he's getting money from the government. So treason from the government, against the government, for the government. I don't know. It's all weird. Again, that's my opinion, which it seems pretty likely. So again, there's that link I showed in the above comment I did to SovereignMan. So when you search on Reddit, yeah, on Google, or any search engine is right, site:reddit.com, search SovereignMan, and any time he mentions Judy Wood, or that is mentioned in the page, and there's about 276 pages there. So yeah, some of these might include just because he's a moderator, but nonetheless, there's like non-stop of him just responding to anyone that comments about Judy Wood. So yeah, I checked those. That's a great way of just checking people's history before on any website. And yeah, wow, 276 results for SovereignMan. Well, at least he's working hard for his government money. And yeah, I just put that note again. So some of the results may include him because his name shows up in the moderator list, but nonetheless, there are still many comments by SovereignMan similar to the quote Spira exchange, and I'll be elaborating this in later videos. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, watch that video; it's pretty amazing. So now let's go on further. So I created a vote v/9/11truth subverse. Since 9/11 truth one is downvote shill central or shill or disinfo central, and yeah, in the 9/11 truth on votes, yeah, he posts anything but turning to dust or Dr. Judy Wood, you just get downvoted like crazy. And here we still have some random guy just comes up and downvotes all these videos. So again, this is the 9/11 truth one. I have 2 subscribers as of whenever I posted this one. I believe there's like one more now, but yeah, go check it out, and yeah, I'll be posting 9/11 stuff there as well. So this is the only 9/11 truth forum where you can post about the brilliant work of Dr. Judy Wood without getting trolled, spammed, and banned by government paid disinfo agents and bots. Again, remember, this is about 16 years after 9/11, and this kind of campaign still goes on, and I believe it will go on for basically the rest of our lives, because the secret they're keeping is absolutely ridiculous, and it's just hidden technology, that's super advanced, at least, like my guess, 50 to 100 years in the future, or more advanced than what we have right now. So again, I was banned from Reddit's r9/11 truth forum and spammed with non-stop downvotes on votes forum, so I decided to create my own 9/11 truth MES forums on both Reddit and now on votes. Go to that subverse and start posting some cool info. And now I want to talk about the CIA agent quote confession PsyOp, or psychological operations. Put that full text there and put the PsyOp in bracket. And I'll just illustrate some of the tactics they use. So this was from Really Graceful. She has some really cool content there. It says 5 deathbed confessions that could have changed the world, and includes at the 9/11 mark. I put that there just because it's, you know, very suited for this video. And then it was basically about a CIA agent confesses on deathbed, we blew up World Trade Center 7 on 9/11, and then Snopes debunks that. Reports that a dying CIA agent confessed to blowing up World Trade Center 7 buildings, World Trade Center building 7 on 9/11 through controlled demolition are fake news. Irony is Snopes is right on this. It is fake news. My view is that, yeah, they would call it false. And my view is that your newswire, which published that, might be controlled as well, either through ignorance or just misinformation, or purposely controlled by government. Remember, there's trillions of dollars. They might do it, and then Snopes debunks this one, but they don't try to debunk towers turning to dust. Alright, so here I commented on her video just to give my thoughts on that confession there, because people think just because Snopes says something is false, it must be right. Because Snopes has a bad track record of just, being government-controlled cover-up, but I believe a lot of people underestimate the level of detail in these cover-ups. It's quite fascinating. So, I'd be very careful about, quote, confessions from famous people, especially from former CIA MI5 officers, since they may mix in some truth with lies. For example, the 9/11, quote, confession is clearly disinfo. The towers did not come down from controlled demolition, but rather returned to us in midair using advanced free energy technology. The CIA wants people pushing the demolition disinfo because it helps cover up the advanced tech the government hides from us, and thus putting into question whether we already live in a technological global dictatorship, which I think we do. And I'll talk more about this later in this video. And then she responds, which is great. So definitely theory. What if CIA agents actually do release deathbed confessions, but they're purposely false to misdirect, lie till you die style? Another theory. What if these false confessions are released to overshadow, discredit real ones? Yep, that is actually a plausible theory. So even though your newswire is trash, that website, I still think it's important to look into their lavish claims. But I think Snopes often marks things as false with very little bullet points, and mostly is sassy. It's false because because we say it's false tone. But again, that is on purpose, because a lot of people don't believe in Snopes, so then they'll believe the opposite of it. It's actually amazing. Reverse psychology. And then there's this another just random troll, this info agent, or just some ignorant person. I don't know why they just jump at any point that I write about this. This person says, I take control demolition theory, which has military-grade explosive particle evidence and evaluations by demolition experts, architects, and engineers, and firemen witness testimonies of pre-explosion explosions over space ray gun theory with no evidence any day unless you can provide evidence. Towers turn to dust. That's pretty much all you need to know. And again, straw man, they just throw in a space ray gun. It's ridiculous. So now I respond at really graceful. Yup, those are plausible theories. Your second theory is a great tool used to muddy the water, such as in crop circles, where most are purposely man-made to cover up the very few that use advanced techs. That's in my opinion, and as well as seen some info on that. I might cover that in later videos. So, but one thing to keep in mind is that the governments have trillions at their disposal, not billions, not millions, trillions. Thus, it won't be too hard to create many websites. So they might even create your Newswire and Snopes together, so it makes it look like they're competing. They're actually on the same side. That make claims that the other government-controlled sites, such as Snopes, debunks, or quote debunks, with trillions setting up large corporations with a convenient backstory, such as a couple of engineers creating Google in their basement or in their garage isn't too difficult either, because Google could be made by them as well. Because once you realize one thing's a conspiracy, the mainstream's lying, you have to stop and re-examine everything in your life. So it's best not to underestimate what we are up against, and obtaining more concrete evidence of confessions actually taking place can help avoid taking the PsyOp ride ourselves. Also, what's most telling about Snopes, MSN, Wikipedia is not what they debunk, but what they go the extra mile to not even mention, such as the towers turning to dust. And again, PS, just on cue, disinfo trolls, bots such as Crown Retro, the one who commented above, and then afterwards I just edited and I put it, the Cassandra Complex here, and then some other ones. They just non-stop. Remember, 16 years after. Emu, or whatever, and Cassandra Complex and Emu, hashtag list keeps growing, are out patrolling whenever anyone mentions what actually happened on 9/11, so best to ignore them. Also, I'm banned from Reddit's government-controlled r 9/11 Truth after just 2 weeks on there, so I created r 9/11 Truth MES, haha, smiley face. And then let's see what this Cassandra Complex can you prove your claim of the technology, or are you just pushing disinfo? Since the squibs of the demolition can be seen with the naked eye as they happen. Not everything that's an explosion is a bomb. I know all about the government's hiring of shills to push lies. I know you do, because you're probably part of them. Congrats on doing what they want you to do. Are you a flat earther too? Oh my goodness. So your comment to Crown Retro calling them a bot and laughing at the end of your reply is known as sign of trolls. They will laugh when they think they're getting away with their lies. I was actually smiling, or just laughing at the efforts that the government did to, or Reddit did to remove me. And this is not even at the Crown Retro guy. I don't know what they're talking about. So yeah, this person says, yeah, when you laugh, they'll think you're getting away with their lies. It's called duping delight. Never seen a duping delight comment before. Okay, you can't prove your claims to your brand. Anyone asking you to as a bot troll. It's no wonder you were banned from Reddit. Researchers provide documents, sources, and evidence. You haven't. I think you're doubling up too much on your conspiracy. You can't see the wood from the trees. They removed steel frames from the building, and ordinary people said parts of the building had work done weeks before the job in 9/11. Towers turn to dust. I don't understand how these bots or trolls can't see that, which they obviously do. They just want to throw in doubt because that's the name of the game. So that video by Really Graceful illustrates 5 alleged deathbed confessions and includes a recent one by an alleged CIA agent that allegedly confessed to using controlled demolition on World Trade Center 7 during 9/11. #PsyOp. Again, in my opinion, it is a PsyOp. It's in one way or the other, either unintentional or intentional. It's a psychological operation. As I've alluded to many times before, the real cover-up of 9/11 is what actually happened, which is the towers turning to dust using advanced classified free energy technology, not some conventional controlled demolition methods which are easily mocked and debunked quote, debunked by government-controlled outlets such as Snopes. Thus, it is very likely that quote, random government control, quote, news sites like your Newswire would push these CIA, quote, confession stories about demolitions at 9/11, whether they happen or not, doesn't matter. And then other, quote, fact checkers, government controlled PR firms, for short, like Snopes, quote, debunks them. Notice how disinfo trolls, bots pop up anywhere and everywhere you mention the towers turning dust. And also notice how they repeatedly use the word theory instead of ever talking about the facts of 9/11, as you could say over here. Even this person says rather take controlled demolition theory, because they don't even want to put credence to anything or state anything as fact in the whole 9/11 one, just so it's easily mocked by the mainstream. And again, it says space ray gun theory, and then even on their own pushing demolition, they have to throw in theory. That's very interesting. Use of that word. So anyways, and thus we have the Dr. Judy Wood litmus test. Again, if you go to Wikipedia just for litmus, litmus is a water-soluble mixture of different dyes extracted from lichens. It is often absorbed onto filter paper to produce one of the oldest forms of pH indicator used to test materials for acidity. The main use of litmus is to test whether a solution is acidic or basic. So basically, blue litmus paper turns red under acidic conditions. So here's a blue one. This is blue, and then it turns red here in acidic, like that, and then it remains blue in basic. So base or acid. Let's write base, acid, like that. And then red litmus paper turns blue under basic or alkaline conditions, and this is red filter paper right here, red, and then it turns over here. It turns blue under base. So yeah, it just turns blue, and then red remains red on acid. Like that. That's from Wikipedia. So again, blue top, red bottom, litmus paper. When litmus paper is placed in acid, the red stays red, bottom right, and the blue turns red, top right, like that. So blue and red, both of them turn red or remain red when placed in acid, and they both turn blue when you place it, or remains blue for the blue one when you place it in basic. Yeah, and so on. So skip that part. So when judging, just want to put that brief science lesson in there for the litmus test if you haven't already known what it is, which you should. So when judging the credibility of any news, government, science outlet, I first look at what they have to say about 9/11, and more specifically if they know about the towers turning to dust. Thus, anyone that points this out gets a huge boost in credibility, and anyone that doesn't loses a lot of credibility, especially if they state 9/11 was a conspiracy but don't state the towers turning dust in mid-air. And an example of a news outlet that I highly recommend is richplanet.net by Richard D. Hall. I highly recommend checking out all their videos. They have one on WikiLeaks and Julian Assange, which WikiLeaks might possibly be controlled as well. And there's some interviews here with Dr. Judy Wood as well, and other stuff. It's quite fascinating, so check it out. I just wish I knew about his website before. So yeah, Richard's extremely detailed investigation into the Madeleine McCann cover-up. He has about like 14 hours worth and basically argues over here. You could see has some videos here about arguing that Madeline actually died in that apartment. And his work into that cover-up inspired me to do my own investigative work, and I've also expanded on some parts of the Madeline McCann case. Check out my #Pizzagate video series. So yeah, I recommend you take the time to watch every video of his in double speed, of course, wink face. So this litmus test is also applicable to Julian Assange of WikiLeaks, Alex Jones of InfoWars, and David Icke of David Icke, which all have either denied 9/11 being conspiracy, that's Assange, or have pushed the bogus demolition quote theory, Icke and Jones. Again, I'll be going over all these in great detail in later parts of this series, so stay tuned for that. So thus I would keep a critical eye when viewing their info, if there's any hidden agenda, if it's right or wrong or distortion. And with Assange, he denied 9/11 being a conspiracy. Here's wanted by the CIA. This is from Belfast Telegraph. It's a mainstream news article in, I believe, in Ireland. And this is 2010. So wanted by the CIA, Julian Assange, WikiLeaks founder. And here's a quote that he's quoted as saying, so his obsession with secrecy, both in others and maintaining his own, lends him the air of a conspiracy theorist. Is he one? Then he states, I believe in facts about conspiracies, he says, choosing his words slowly. Anytime people with power plan in secret, they are conducting a conspiracy. So there are conspiracies everywhere. There are also crazed conspiracy theories. It's important to not confuse these two. Generally, when there's enough facts about a conspiracy, we call this news. What about 9/11? And he says, I'm constantly annoyed that people are distracted by false conspiracies such as 9/11, when all around we provide evidence of real conspiracies for war or mass financial fraud. I think 9/11 is pretty much overriding both these, war and mass financial fraud. It connects both of them directly. So what about the Bilderberg Conference? That is vaguely conspiratorial in a networking sense. We have published their meeting notes. So yeah, if he denies 9/11, might as well something to look at Bilderberg then as well, because he's denying that as any sort of conspiracy. So anyways, in my opinion, this is utter garbage and is a huge red flag that puts into question just what is WikiLeaks, or at least what it is being used for. For example, if the CIA had in their agenda the need to leak someone's email, i.e. John Podesta's, what better avenue to do so than through WikiLeaks, a highly trusted news outlet by both mainstream media and those that don't believe in the mainstream media. #genius. That's actually an amazing one. So even if WikiLeaks is not controlled in any way, they can still be used as one, because CIA could just leak info that they want to leak, because they'll know that people will believe them, or at least a large proportion of the population believe them, even the ones that don't believe the mainstream media. This is absolute genius, actually. It's quite remarkable. So again, whether their views are due to ignorance, I'm talking about all of the above that don't talk about turning to dust, the Dr. Judy Wood's work, or that 9/11 is not a conspiracy. So whether their views are due to ignorance, being fed misinformation, mind control, I don't rule out anything, blackmail, or they are purposely mixing truth with untruth to gain credibility, as in controlled opposition, it must be understood it is impossible to obtain a proper world view without knowing the following, and this is basically the Dr. Judy Wood litmus test. So fabricated terror events have, and will continue to occur, and this is including 9/11. Advanced game-changing technologies being actively suppressed, and for how long is a good question. And then human perception is being managed at a global scale, and for how long? Remember, people believe 9/11 is not a conspiracy, and then the ones that do believe it's demolitions or thermite or nukes or some other stuff that just don't turn towers into dust in midair in a cold fashion, just gradually, in midair. It's just absolutely amazing. And also, you have to point out that understand that everything in mainstream media history, or everything in mainstream history and science, need to be re-examined. You can't take anything in the past as fact that you were told. You have to look at it carefully to see how long we've been lied to. So again, speculating on geopolitics and wars without the above understanding will lead to many misleading conclusions, and thus we have to remove assumptions even about just how sovereign countries really are. Like if Russia's sovereign from US, why didn't they just point out about what happened 9/11? What's the reason that they're holding back that? So my current speculation is that we already live in a technological global dictatorship where we are actively pitted against each other over topics such as immigration and gender identity, while our overlords build increasing police security and walls around us. And this comes to that U.S.-Mexico wall. So, for example, hidden free energy tech could greatly lower illegal immigration. For example, you could just theoretically live in the desert with a box that powers your entire home and other hidden technology, which then suggests that the proposed U.S.-Mexico wall is not meant to keep people out, but rather keep people in. That's in my view, just like a prison. So we can also apply this knowledge to people pushing theories that are readily mocked, whether they are true or not. This is actually very important to know. Regardless of the truth, they do it. Yeah, so these ones, if anyone's pushing theory that's rarely mocked by the mainstream media and the public, such as flat Earth, reptilians, aliens, Illuminati, New World Order, simulated reality, extra dimensions, and any other theories out there, again, whether they are true or not, we can apply that knowledge above. So anyone pushing these kinds of theories about how the world really works but doesn't include Dr. Judy Wood's work and the towers turning dust is highly suspect. And that is my opinion on that. And now let's look at Bill Cooper's death. And I believe it was a foregone conclusion. So after listening to more of William, or Bill for short, Cooper's radio broadcast, I'm confident that he was almost certainly assassinated. Again, this is my view on this, my belief on it. I'll have to look into it further to confirm. So first of all, recall from my part 2 video on 9/11 Truth, in which I showed how just months before 9/11, Bill Cooper predicted that Osama Bin Laden would be blamed for a major false flag terror attack, and then he gets killed by the police, by police officers, 2 months after 9/11. Here's a link. I'll play it just again, just because it's a very powerful broadcast, and I'll put some of the transcripts over here where you can read what he said. Let's just play this. Alright, so let's play this.
How about that? They're doing the same thing today with Osama Bin Laden, and that's where I've been getting at. Can you believe what you have been seeing on CNN today, ladies and gentlemen? Can you believe it? Supposedly, a CNN reporter found Osama Bin Laden, took a television camera crew with him, went into Osama Bin Laden's hideout, interviewed him and his top leadership, his top lieutenants and colonels and generals in their hideout. This is a CNN reporter with a camera crew. And he came out and told everybody, within 3 weeks, Osama Bin Laden is going to attack the United States and Israel. Now, don't you think that's kind of strange, folks? You see, because the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, with the biggest budget in the history of the world, has been looking for Osama Bin Laden for years and years and years, and can't find him. The FBI also, under the leadership of Louis Freeh, has been looking for Osama Bin Laden for years and years and years and years and years and many years, and can't find him. Some doofus, jerk-off reporter with a camera crew waltzes right into his hideout and interviews him. And you know what his budget is? Zip, zilch, nothing. Now, that tells us two things. Either everyone in the intelligence community and all of the intelligence agencies of the United States government are blithering idiots and incompetent fools, including the entire apparatus of the FBI and all of their personnel, or they're lying to us. They're not looking for him at all. And the second is the truth. You see, the CIA created Osama Bin Laden. They recruited him, they trained him, They found his leadership. They brought them all together. They showed them how to fight the Soviet Union in Afghanistan, and when that was over, they still continued to fund him and train him, and they're now using him to help bring about world government by making him the big boogeyman, because they can't use Saddam Hussein anymore. You ever hear of Osama Bin Laden? Before you heard of Saddam Hussein? When did you start hearing of Osama Bin Laden? It was after Saddam Hussein and Iraq were supposedly neutralized in the Gulf War, because they needed a new boogeyman. But they're not looking for Osama Bin Laden, because I'm telling you right now, if I were the head of the Central Intelligence Agency, within 2 weeks I would have him dead or in custody without fail. Without fail. If I had those assets and that money, he would be mine. I would own his terrorist ass within 2 weeks without fail. A reporter from CNN and his little camera crew got in to Osama bin Laden's secret hideout and conducted an interview. If you don't believe me, tune into CNN. They're probably running it right now as I'm speaking. And if you believe it, you are one of the stupidest jerks that ever lived on the face of this earth. And whatever is going to happen that they're going to blame on Osama bin Laden, don't you even believe it.
And yeah, so that's the classic Bill Cooper broadcast. That was, I believe, that was June 28, 2001. And now the new boogeyman is ISIS. So yeah, hashtag don't you believe it. Here I put some of that transcripts right here, and it says whatever's going to happen, whatever is going to happen, they're going to blame it on Osama bin Laden. Don't you believe it? And it's just a powerful radio broadcast. Bill Cooper explains the absolute ridiculousness of a CNN reporter getting an exclusive interview with Osama bin Laden, even though the CIA can't, quote, find Osama for years. Bill also explains on June 28, 2001, months before 9/11, that an attack will likely happen and be blamed on Osama bin Laden. Hashtag don't you believe it. Again, as I showed from part 2, I showed that the Wikipedia page just went over quickly. So Wilton William Cooper, or Bill Cooper, on November 5th, 2001, Apache County Sheriff's deputies attempted to arrest Cooper at his Eager, Arizona home on charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and endangerment stemming from disputes with local residents. After an exchange of gunfire during which Cooper shot one of the deputies in the head, Cooper was fatally shot. Federal authorities reported that Cooper had spent years evading execution of the 1998 arrest warrant, according to a spokesman for the Marshal Services. Police telling you something. Yeah, so if police say it must be true, sarcasm. So he vowed that he would not be taken alive. So Bill Cooper was shot and killed by law enforcement months after 9/11, which he predicted, but the Wikipedia article completely leaves his prediction out. Yeah, this is why Wikipedia is just horrible. It just changes the narrative. Makes it look like it's just some guy with a gun trying to shoot people. And I may look into this case more, because it's very fishy, and it's also, I believe, very important to get the facts right. So the killing of Bill Cooper by cops shortly after 9/11 may on the surface be brushed off as just a strange coincidence, since other popular radio broadcasters such as Alex Jones, AL, and others repeatedly call 9/11 an inside job. Although I would never brush this coincidence off, since Bill would have started to gain an even more popularity after predicting Osama was going to be the next boogeyman. That is not an easy thing to do. Because once people see that, and then he just pointed out how absolutely ridiculous it is to believe that Osama bin Laden was behind 9/11. Because I actually never saw any other person or any another popular person like that pushing that, besides people just saying Saudi Arabia, Israel, or whatever. But they just never went to the just pointing out this one video. I was baffled by how easily it is to actually convince people that 9/11 was an inside job. All you gotta do is listen to this guy for 1 second. Again, so going on further, so Bill Cooper has also made claims of seeing a UFO, talked extensively about hidden technology. He initially believed aliens were real, but later claimed they were a psychological operation through possible mind control, memory implementation. So again, the theory behind that is if, let's say, hidden tech is real, which I believe it is, and there's also patents, I believe, for memory implementation on people. So you could just abduct a bunch of people, let's say you abduct 1,000 people, again, you have trillions of dollars, you're a government, and you abduct them, you put memories into them that aliens took them and whatever, and you put the exact same, I guess, scenario of the whatever kind of UFO they had, whatever kind of aliens. So then when someone's researching into it and looks at these 1,000 different abductions or abduction claims and get notice that they all get the exact same story, then they might think, oh, this might be real, aliens are real, but they don't know that it could have been just implemented into that. So that's I believe that's why Bill Cooper stopped believing aliens, and also has made many other big claims which some have used against him, including the popular media analyst Mark Dice. So yeah, Bill Cooper was really into the ufology and hidden tech and other stuff like that. So now, before I give my reasoning as to why I believe Bill Cooper was assassinated, which I would have to review the case in detail to confirm, and I may do so in the future, so stay tuned. Let's see how Mark Dice covers the assassination claims. And this is an earlier video where he reads a passage from the Illuminati Facts and Fiction, and it's titled "Mark Dice Exposes Bill Cooper's Lies and Exaggerations." So yeah, I downvoted this one. I disagreed with his take on it. It's pretty much regurgitation of mainstream media stuff. Let's just listen to how he talks about the assassination and people calling the assassination, calling his death an assassination, how he tries to debunk that. Alright, so it's here. Let's play it. Yeah, whoops, I don't know why it didn't work. Let's do it again.
Facts from fiction. The actual events surrounding Cooper's death remain the topic of debate and speculation amongst his fans. On November 5th, 2001, sheriff deputies lured Cooper from his home in rural Eager, Arizona at approximately 11 p.m. by posing as ordinary citizens playing loud music in their vehicle on or near his property, causing them to come out and investigate. A warrant had been issued for his arrest for allegedly threatening a man named Dr. Scott Hamblin with a handgun for either trespassing or loitering on or near his land. Police claim that when they tried to apprehend Cooper, he pulled out a handgun and shot one deputy, resulting in another officer shooting and killing Cooper. People who knew Cooper personally have said that anyone who attempted to approach his home would be confronted at gunpoint. And over the last few years of his life, he was growing increasingly paranoid and unstable. They also state that Cooper himself had said that he would never be taken alive after he failed to appear in court for charges that he refused to pay income taxes. Cooper's neighbor and friend, Glenn Jacobs, was the editor of a small local paper called the Round Valley Paper and wrote, quote, "Local police with a warrant for a couple of aggravated assault warrants, Bill was certainly guilty, went up in force to Cooper's house, letting on to be teenagers drinking and partying with the radio turned up loud. Bill came out of his house and drove over them and demanded they get off his mountain. Two officers jumped Bill in his car. Bill backed it up, shoved one officer out, and shot the other one twice in the head with his .45, but did not inflict any life-threatening wounds. Bill ran towards his house, whereupon the entire contingent gave Bill what he had been asking for, his martyrdom. This was not a federal ninja action nor a rogue cop riot. Bill had gone over to Dr. Scott Hamblin's house and waved a gun in his face and seems to have done the same to another person as well. The officers wisely went prepared, as Bill had broadcast hundreds of times that he would not surrender and would kill anyone who came after him." That was written, again, by his neighbor and friend. Okay? Despite Glenn Jacobs and others in Eager, Arizona, in the eager Arizona community who were friends with Cooper and against the New World Order, saying that Cooper had lost it and opened a fire on the police first. Many of Cooper's fans believe he was purposely murdered because he talked about 9/11 and the New World Order. So many of his personal friends, not people on the internet, personal friends who supported what he did, were against the New World Order, say that he was a loose cannon, that he wasn't assassinated, that he opened fire first. This was not some assassination attempt. The Associated Press published an article the day after his death, labeling Cooper a national leader of the militia movement, and tried to tie him to Timothy McVeigh, saying, quote, Timothy McVeigh, who was executed in May for the bombing of the federal building in Oklahoma, listened to Cooper's broadcast for inspiration, according to the testimony by James Nichols, brother of Oklahoma City bombing co-defendant Terry Nichols during the 1996 pretrial hearing. While Cooper's death is a tragedy, and it's slanderous to tie him to Timothy McVeigh, and many of the other issues he discussed on his radio show and his book are true, it is inexcusable that he fabricated tales of seeing top-secret documents in an attempt to add credibility to his story to sell more books.
Alright, so yeah, you get the picture there, but some parts of that book that he just read, of his own book, were very eye-popping, and I was absolutely shocked at how he just brushed it off as nothing big over there. Yeah, and here's a transcript. Basically, at the police pretending to be teenagers coming from a party or something. Yeah, drunk. Yeah, they were pretending to be teenagers drunk from a party late at night, playing loud music, and then luring him outside, and then they jump him in his car. Bill Cooper shoots one of the officers twice in the head. Here's a transcript. Shot the other one twice in the head with his .45 gun, and then, but did not inflict any life-threatening wounds. I'll have to see this actually, yeah, in person. I have to see the police report. This is absolutely fascinating. And he says not some rogue ninja and other stuff like that. And then, but my biggest pet peeve with what Mark Dice wrote there was because he says that his fans believed he was purposely murdered because he talked about 9/11 and the New World Order. He did not. Where's the mention of Osama? Where's the prediction? The prediction is the main reason, in my view, that people believe he was murdered, not just talked about. This is absolutely disgusting. And also talks about Associated Press saying that the Oklahoma City bombings, I'm not even sure if it's a bombing or I need to look into it, or that Timothy McVeigh was saying that he was influenced by Bill Cooper, but then Mark Dice says it's slanderous to time to Timothy McVeigh. Why bring it up then if you're just gonna discount it? Yeah, this is ridiculous. So I summarized all that, so you can read the transcript. It's from the video. It's not as accurate because it's automated. Also, watch the video again if you want to. But I'm gonna put these all in. I put this all a summary of his short excerpt. So Mark Dice points out, and he has a 10-page excerpt. Bill Cooper's big claims, alleged retractions, and alleged retractions of aliens and other stuff like that, or of documents that he had in a 10-page excerpt from his book, The Illuminati, Facts and Fiction, and at the end references the death of Bill Cooper as follows. And first of all, Mark doesn't question the bizarre conduct of police pretending to be drunk teenagers coming back from a party, #can't make this stuff up, in order to lure Bill Cooper out of his home. Seriously, I've never heard of this in my life. Mark doesn't question the actual mainstream version of the, quote, gunfight. Yeah, it's pretty much like watching the Wikipedia article. It's just completely against Bill there. Mark doesn't question how a cop can survive two gunshots to the head. Mark blindly accepts Bill's, quote, friend Glenn Jacobs' version of events. What if he was threatened as well? How close were Glenn and Bill? As shown in my earlier videos, I never accept any given version of events without meticulously researching into each point and each person. Mark mocks Bill's repeated broadcast statements to question the official narrative if he were to die suddenly, because he has been before. He's been many times saying that if government kills him, you know what's up, or if he dies, you know it wasn't suicide or anything like that. So Mark mocks people on the internet above, saying that these are real people, his friends saying stuff about him that he's calling Bill a loose cannon, and not people on the internet. So again, #never mock people on the internet. Hashtag that's a mainstream media tactic. I like that. and that's just red flag for me for Mark Dice, which again, he has overall, I highly like his work exposing the mainstream media, but this is just low in my opinion. So Mark underestimates how easy it is for police, CIA, media to frame, control the narrative and cover up any obstruction of justice. See my earlier video into the almost certain police cover-up PsyOp of Brenda Leyland in the Madeleine McCann case. That's on Pizzagate Part 25. Here's a link to it. It's almost certain it was a PsyOp. And or assassination. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I believe Mark Dice underestimates that fully, that how easy it is actually to do, or how often it's. So Mark references a mainstream media article of the Associated Press stating that Cooper may have motivated Timothy McVeigh to commit the Oklahoma City, quote, bombings, quotation marks on bombing, because unless I've studied that event carefully, I cannot and will not accept any versions of events as fact. I've seen a series of events before. A terrorist event happens, then people of influence in alternative media or even random users on social media are blamed for it. So then, more censorship for that. So Mark then states that it is slanderous to tie Bill to Timothy. Then why include that reference at all? And again, Mark briefly mentions that Bill's, quote, fans believe he was assassinated because he talked about 9/11 and the New World Order. While those points above, all those listed above, give me pause for concern as to the events of Bill's death and Mark's horrible, lazy, mainstream media style reporting. That was just like a 1-page or 2-page excerpt of Bill's death, and then assuming that that's what conclusive. That's not conclusive at all. So what I am truly disgusted of, I'm actually disgusted of by Mark Dice, especially since I find much of his work attacking the mainstream media to be brilliant and spot on, is that he never mentions in his short excerpt the main reason people believe Bill was assassinated. It wasn't that he, quote, talked about 9/11, but that he predicted Osama bin Laden was going to be blamed for a false flag event literally months before 9/11. This is the reason. If you're going to, quote, debunk or expose someone, you need to include their main argument. So again, if you're going to expose or debunk someone, you need to include their strongest arguments. Otherwise, it's just going to be a highly partisan piece that you're doing. So Mark's ignoring of this simple, irrefutable fact to better sell his claim that Bill wasn't assassinated is not only bad journalism, it gives some real alarm bells, especially since he's a big alternative media voice. So whatever the reason for Mark's basic regurgitation of the mainstream narrative, could be blind partisanship, strong discouragement of the alien, quote, alien or UFO question that Bill was heavily into. It could be controlled opposition, quotes, or he just simply wants to avoid anything too controversial. And as he stated before, he gets a lot of messages asking him to talk about Bill Cooper, and probably just wanted to silence those critics with a short excerpt in his book. So anyways, it is important to understand that for such a controversial figure as Bill Cooper, and for such a bizarre death at the hands of cops, it is difficult to, quote, prove a case in just a page or two. And Mark's completely overlooking that, how absolutely bizarre his death was, and failing to include the strongest argument here that he predicted 9/11. That's why people believe it. It's just a huge alarm bell for me. So now back to why I believe Bill was assassinated. So regardless of the many claims that Bill has made about aliens and New World Order, NWO, and even overlooking the absolutely bizarre police, quote, shootout being sold to us, the main reason that Bill was likely assassinated was that he had a very large listening audience, and I firmly believe that he wasn't, quote, controlled. I believe he was saying whatever he wanted to say, whether it's true or not. That's what I believe, whether what he's saying is true or not. But I don't believe he was controlled or working for someone like that to push an agenda that wasn't his. So while many point to Bill predicting a 9/11 style event that will be blamed on Osama bin Laden as the reason he was killed, this is not the reason that I think he was. Although this fact helps my case though. So you may not agree with him. You may not believe what he says is true. You may not even think he was. You may even think he was crazy or, quote, unstable, as Mark referenced above. But the simple fact that he may not have been controlled, he became the most feared person in the world after 9/11, and it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to get killed ASAP, or as soon as possible. The main argument for him not being controlled is his bizarre death by cops, because if he was controlled, you want to keep him alive, not just kill him off. And after listening to several hours of Bill's radio broadcast, I see no indication he is purposely deceiving people. Again, whether it's right or wrong, what he's saying doesn't, or whether it's fact or fiction, what he's saying, I don't believe he's purposely doing that. He could be crazy, he could be whatever, but he's not doing it on purpose. Now, given his many statements of advanced hidden technology, if you listen to his talks, and his large audience, I firmly believe that once, not if, once he realized that classified free energy technology was used on 9/11 to turn the towers to dust, he would have blurted this out to the world. Whether he was crazy or not, the very fact that he may not have been controlled was all that it took for the powers that shouldn't be to be scared beyond belief. Whether Bill would actually have told his audience about the towers turning to dust or not, this was not a risk that the ruling party, or who rules over us, was going to take, because the biggest cover-up in 9/11 is hiding from the public the very notion that the towers turned to dust. That's why you don't see debates on the mainstream about towers turning to dust. And because once people see it, it's just, you can't unsee it. So Wikipedia doesn't mention it. Mainstream media doesn't mention it. WikiLeaks doesn't even mention it. Alex Jones doesn't mention it. David Icke doesn't mention it. Mark Dice doesn't mention it. And I'm banned from our 9/11 Truth for mentioning it. The tower turned us. Thus, if Bill could have just forced the mainstream media, or even the mainstream alternative media, which I believe in large part is controlled in some way, to at the very least cover this, they would have no way of spinning it, because it is very difficult to answer the question, where did the towers go? Interesting enough, this was one of the first questions asked on 9/11 by the mainstream media. And here's George Stephanopoulos. This was shortly after 9/11, and he was trying to answer Peter Jennings' question from ABC News, where did all the rubble go? And this is one of the most fascinating ones, just transcripted. Let's just play it, and let's see what you think. Alright, so let's just play this one here.
Stephanopoulos is down in Lower Manhattan today. George, I don't know if you heard a little earlier me raise this question, which was actually raised by ABC's Jackie Judd, as we look at these areas down below. The video where the towers used to stand, and where is all the rubble gone? And have you been able to, is there any way you can answer that question?
I'm sorry, Peter, I didn't get the question.
Okay, I apologize. Jackie Judd and several other people keep asking us, when you look at where the towers used to stand, there is surprisingly so little rubble. Where did all the rubble go?
It's a very good question, Peter, and I have asked some people who've been doing some of the rescue and recovery work this morning. If you look behind me, you can see the very remains, the skeletal remains of the World Trade Center. And one volunteer, Robert Gerlinsky, explained to me the reason there's so little rubble is that all of it simply fell down into the ground and was pulverized, evaporated. Now, I should say, though, for the last several hours, there's been a steady stream of dump trucks.
All right, so so the rubble, they just evaporated. And here's some interesting user comments right here. Evaporated rubble. Thanks, George. I see. So Peter Jennings, that host who asked him the question, did not live much longer. By the way, one of the few media people who weren't clued in. R.I.P. Peter. Oh, that's interesting. So he's dead too now. And then this person says he died after 9/11. He died from lung cancer from smoking. He started smoking during the 9/11 broadcast and afterwards. This person right away trying to defend it. This is very interesting. I might have to look at his death as well, because that's not a question you're supposed to ask. That is not a question you're supposed to ask. So as you can see, George Stephanopoulos from ABC News told us that basically the ground was, the building simply fell down into the ground, was pulverized and evaporated. So ABC News' Peter Jennings asks news correspondent George Stephanopoulos a question first raised by Jackie Judd, and that is, where is all the rubble gone? George says someone explained to him that the rubble, quote, evaporated. Asha, you can't make this stuff up, and that is why, in my opinion, Bill Cooper had to die as sad as that sounds, just because he was not controlled and he had a large following. And then if this was pushed to a large proportion of the U.S. population and people listening to Bill Cooper, this is something that the mainstream had to cover, and this is kind of what would happen. How absolutely stupid they look, trying to say that the rubble just evaporated. So now the actual answer, didn't evaporate. The actual answer is that the rubble went exactly where these important questions from the mainstream media went, and that is hashtag gone with the wind. I've tweeted here, what happened on 9/11 is irrefutable. Towers turned to dust. Here you have, I don't know what this is, like a giant Alka-Seltzer tablet here, and you can see them closer here. So I don't know what this is. This is absolutely ridiculous. Look at all that dust, not smoke, dust. And look at how the size of this one here. This is the water here. All of Manhattan would have been flooded if it actually fell down hard to the ground. It just pretty much turned to dust there. Look at the size there, just for reference, and that's all that's left. These people are standing here on ground level there. Where's the tower? Yeah, where did these towers go? All right, and there's a bunch of holes there. This one's not even damaged there. Unbelievable. This is barely any rubble. So in another tweet I did, where did towers go? Asking for a friend. I'm asking for Peter Jennings. Where did towers go? Turn to dust. Hashtag Dr. Judy Wood. 9/11 Truths. Free energy. Wake up, people. So look at what we have there. I don't know what this is. Is there any photo like that of any kind of, quote, collapse or planes hitting a building? This is absolutely amazing. Look at these little steel beams or columns, and look at this trailing dust across there. Quite remarkable. And it's all thick, white, gray dust. And there's nothing there, no damage. And there's an ambulance not crushed. The glass window's not even broken. This is unbelievable. Anyways, stay tuned for 9/11 Truth Part 5 as this gets crazier and crazier. And yeah, that's my views on Bill Cooper. And these questions of where the towers go went with the towers, and just gone with the wind. So yes, that is why I believe Bill Cooper had to die. Doesn't matter if what he says is right or wrong, just the fact that he's probably not controlled. And I was very disappointed with this Mark Dice analysis of Bill Cooper. It's basically just a mainstream regurgitation of, that's all it is, mainstream regurgitation of that topic. I don't know why you do that. Again, the litmus test is absolutely important to know. That's my view on basically all of world geopolitics. If they don't talk about hidden tech, fake history, revisionist history, Dr. Judy Wood's amazing work, she's pretty much found a glitch in the matrix, is how I view her. And then you won't fall for psyops like these, that then you have Snopes debunk and obviously a psyop, and everyone that doesn't know the truth, they think that they're getting the truth by playing along in exactly as they were planned to play along with. And it was all for today. Hopefully you learned, and also stay tuned for my free energy video series, and please donate at mes.fm/donate. I'll be ordering the parts. I'm going to need your help because it's going to be quite a lot of money, a lot of time put in, because I'm pretty much trying to find free energy, and if we can get a device that works in mass scale where anyone can replicate, something's going to happen. So it's going to be pretty fascinating. Anyways, that's all for today. Hopefully you learned. Like always, you can download these notes in the link below, as well as viewing these notes on Steemit. And stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for another Math Easy.